For 12 years, I tested the 5 most popular option strategies out there: the cover call, the cash secured put, the wheel, the poor man cover call, and various other strategies that people swear by right now. And after running them through bull markets, through bear markets, through market volatility, through the Federal Reserve, some cap the upside, some blow up your downside, some totally blow up your account, and some quietly underperform the brainless S&P 500. So here's the big problem. Most people are just simply using the wrong option strategy at the exact wrong time in the market cycle. That's what we're going to break down in this video of how to use the correct option strategy at the correct time to maximize your profits, maximize your cash flow, and also limit your downside at the exact same time. Let's dive in. We got a 5-year chart right here of the NASDAQ. We have a horizontal line going up and to the right here. This corresponds to the earnings per share growth line of the companies within a NASDAQ. Doesn't matter if we do this on a NASDAQ, Nvidia, Apple, BlackBerry, it does not matter. Where the profits go in the long term is where the stock is going to go in the long term too. Right here, when the stock is below the earnings per share growth line, we're going to view this as undervalued. When it's above, we're going to view it as overvalued. It's going to warrant doing a certain option strategy when the market is over or undervalued. Let's just dive straight into it. Let's talk about the cover call. So high level, what the cover call is you got to buy 100 shares of something. When you buy 100 shares, you could then go sell one contract, a cover call against those shares. But what does a cover call actually mean? The way that I like to think about this is just think about the other side of the trade. If I'm selling you a cover call, I'm selling you a call, someone's buying that call from me. Somebody that wants to buy a call option, they want the share price to go up. They want to buy a call option for $100 and they want the share price to go to $200. They want to make money on that. But you, as the call option seller, you don't want the share price to go up. You actually want the share price to go down or stay flat. If we flip over to the chart right here, do we think it makes a lot of sense to sell a cover call down here when the market is cheap? In my opinion, no, because remember what we talked about earlier. The number one thing that moves the price is going to be where the profits are at. If profits are going up and to the right, and you're actually getting in when a company's below intrinsic value, below the profit line, you don't want to touch that with cover calls. It's very risky because it's likely that you're going to go in the money and try to chase that higher and higher and higher by rolling the contract up and out. So you are going to lose money on that cover call, and it would have just been better to hold your shares right here and just simply let your shares appreciate. I mean, just look at this move right here in a couple years on the NASDAQ. It went up over 100% in this time frame right here. You're not going to generate 100% of your account value in premium selling cover calls if you get in when something is super undervalued. So cover calls aren't going to make sense down here. But when do they make sense? Maybe like a time like right now in the market, or maybe back here. Let's look at back here. When we see that the market right here is roughly, we'll just say 13% overvalued, it's not a 100% perfect science how this works, but the market's a little bit expensive right here. Price earnings ratio level's high, the growth is still good, but fundamentally speaking, it's a little bit expensive. So when something's a little bit expensive, a lot is already priced into that current share price. So that could indicate future expected returns aren't going to be that good. So if you do want to be a person that sells cover calls, up here is what you're looking for. You're looking for something that's a little bit expensive. You go sell cover calls on it, and then when you get this downside right here, yes, it's going to help you generate a little bit of cash flow on the way down and lower your downside, but there's a big flaw with this, and roll with me on this. If you agree that selling cover calls is a bearish strategy, why would you want to hold 100 shares of that company in your portfolio? Like this dip right here, the market went down roughly 35% from peak to trough. You're not going to generate 35% of your account value in 1 year by selling cover calls. So if you are super bearish, the move is not to do cover calls at all. The move is to either buy put options right here or simply just sell your shares and be done with it. So riding this down and selling cover calls is only going to help you a little bit, but it should not be your primary strategy. It's kind of like conflicting. You're bullish to hold 100 shares, but you're bearish to cap your upside and think that it's going to go down. If you're bearish, just sell your shares and don't have to worry about dealing with the cover call. Okay, so cover call is a strategy that I do sometimes, but it's honestly very rare. The scenario where I would do a cover call is maybe I'm very long-term bullish, but short-term bearish, meaning I want to hold the NASDAQ forever. Maybe I have a lot of unrealized capital gains and I don't want to get out of that. I don't want to realize the taxes. Maybe I could start selling cover calls when I feel like the index is a little bit expensive. But you got to be very careful because as you're rolling your cover calls up and out, if you get chased by the share price going higher, you're fighting this trend line right here of earnings per share going up and to the right. So you better make sure you're not doing it down here. Make sure you're doing it up here or maybe even up here where the market's a little bit expensive. So cover calls, that's how I feel about it. I grade them as roughly a C on the scale of A, B, C, D, E, F. Cover calls are going to be a C. Let's go to the next one. The big bad cash secured put. Very, very common option strategy. Most people do it wrong. Let's talk about it right here. So, selling a put option, what does that allow someone to do? Let's just think about this on the reverse side. You're selling me a put option. I'm going to buy the put option from you. If I'm buying a put, I think the stock price is going to fall, right? I think it's going to go down. But you selling the put, you don't think it's going to go down. I'm buying downside protection from you. You are selling me the downside protection. You are essentially the insurance company. I'm buying the policy from you. So when does it make sense for somebody to buy a put option? Maybe when something's expensive, like up here. But does it make sense to buy a put option down here? Absolutely not. Stock is undervalued, earnings per share is going up and to the right. You don't want to be bearishly allocated down here. You want to be bullishly allocated. So what you could do down here is you could start to sell some put options. And a cash secured put is what a lot of people do. You basically have cash in your account till if you look at the right hand side, it's $268 share price right here. So let's just say you sell a $280 strike price put right here. Each contract that you sell, you're going to have $280 times 100 shares in cash in your account to secure the trade. So that's going to be $28,000 per contract. But remember, we're only selling puts when we're bullish, right? We want the share price to go up or stay flat or just not really go down that much. So if you are bullish, the big flaw with the cash secured put is that you have $28,000 in cash in your account right here when the market's undervalued. And as we talked about before, $28,000 in cash in your account, and this was December of 2022. If we just go to December of 2024 right here, you can see that the market went up roughly 95%. You're not going to make enough premium selling cash secured puts to basically double your account in that time frame in 2 years. Nobody's selling cash secured puts and making 50% per year. If you are, you're lucky and it's not going to be sustainable. Just trust me, it's not going to happen. So what you could have did right there is instead of trying to get cute with it and trying to, feel like you're doing something by selling options, instead of having $28,000 in cash right here, you could have just bought $28,000 worth of stock right here, and then it would be worth roughly double up here. That's where the big money is made. Of course, you're going to ride it up to a double. You're not going to have to pay taxes along the way when you're collecting all these premiums. And, it's just an unrealized capital gain up here. You doubled your money and did basically no work. You bought and forgot about it for 2 years, to be honest with you. So your only job right there was to basically find a good company at a good price with good earnings per share growth. Now, before we go any farther, I want to talk about duration of contracts right here. I skipped it for cover calls. Let's go into cash secured puts too. For the cover call, we think that the share price is going to go down if we sell a covered call. We definitely don't want to bet against this trend line of earnings per share going up and to the right forever. So when I do cover calls, I only want to do them for a few weeks to a few months at a maximum because I don't want to bet against earnings per share going up and to the right. If you do a cover call for 2 years, it's very likely you're probably going to lose money if you have a good company because, again, you have the shares in your account, so you like the company. Hopefully you bought a good company. And if you bet against that company and the CEO and them trying to grow revenue, them trying to be more efficient, them trying to grow earnings per share, eventually the cover call is going to bite you. So I only do shorter duration cover calls when I do them. Now for the cash secured put, I usually don't do cash secured puts ever. I'll talk about a different type of put that I sell in a little bit. But when I do sell put options, I like to go 1 or 2 years out in expiration date. Because again, short-term market movements are usually random. It's very volatile. It's very hard to predict. But what I do know is this. If we take a look at what the earnings per share did from 2023 and we just go out a couple years, we'll go 2023 until the end of 2024, roughly right here, earnings per share went up roughly 25%. So I know that I have that bullish tailwind behind me of earnings per share going up and to the right. So that's helping me get in at a better price. And also I know that I'm buying something below intrinsic value. So I have the EPS growing, getting in below intrinsic value, and then picking a strike price all the way out over here. And you can notice how far below I would be from the earnings per share growth line. It's much larger right here versus right here. And when I do a longer duration contract, I have the ability to pick a lower strike price because there's more demand for that contract farther out. So again, longer duration contracts are best in my opinion for sold puts. And also you're generating a crap ton of cash flow right here. Like if you're selling a put from the get-go, you're bullish, right? Don't forget about that. You're generating 2 years of premium right here instead of 1 month of premium like most people do. Maybe that's $1,000 versus $20,000. I have $20,000 I generate right here and reinvest it right here. You're doing monthlies trying to get 20 trades in a row. It's not going to happen. And you're doing it at unfavorable times. I'm doing it right here, striking when it makes sense, and not dealing with trying to do this every month like it's clockwork, because there's not always going to be opportunities out there where things are undervalued to go sell puts. I mean, there's always deals out there, but usually things that you're comfortable selling puts on, you're not going to find the deals on those stocks every single day. Okay, so let's talk about the wheel, which is kind of these two strategies combined right here. But this is going to kind of click for you why most people like to do the wheel, because they feel like they're making this cash flow, but they're not really doing anything productive with it. Let's think about this. The typical person's going to take the wheel strategy. They're going to sell cash secure puts to start, maybe 1 or 2 week cash secure puts or even monthlies. They generate the cash flow. The goal is that contract does not go in the money. And when the market's going straight up, it does do okay. I'm not going to debate that. Like the wheel does do okay. But when the market's going down, typically what most people do is they're selling puts on high volatility, high beta, high valuation, crap speculative meme stock companies. And when the NASDAQ fell, like we talked about it right here, the NASDAQ fell roughly 35%. Those companies are going to fall a lot more, maybe 50% plus, even more than that is very likely. And the problem is that when you sell the put, you're getting assigned the shares and you're carrying the bag down on those shares because you're trying to sell a cover call to get rid of those shares. You're trying to get the shares called away, but you can't get the shares called away because the shares keep going down. So you're caught holding the bag down. So then what eventually happens is when the share price does rebound, you're selling cover calls to get rid of them, but you're selling cover calls at the exact wrong time. The timing is bad because once the share price finally rebounds and it's clearly below intrinsic value, you are selling cover calls down here, a bearish strategy. But the move down here is to actually not do options at all. The move down here is to take the shares that you have and let them rebound and ride them higher, not sell them when they're cheap. You want to hold them when they're cheap and let them rebound to intrinsic value, just the true value of the shares, and let earnings per share continue to grow and go up and to the right. So the problem with the wheel is that you're doing a bullish strategy when things are expensive and a bearish strategy when things are cheap. That's usually what most retail investors do. They buy high and they sell low, and you wonder why your returns don't even beat the S&P 500 in the long term. Now again, the wheel strategy through this time frame, I'm sure you might have did good with it, but when you actually factor in, a legitimate dip that's not a V-shaped recovery, like this took 2 years to recover, or even deeper, something like COVID where it's just so sharp and deep, the wheel's probably not going to do good for you in the long term. And trust me, I've been doing all these strategies for 12 years. I've seen them through bull markets, through bear markets, various volatility events, whatever. We're going to get into the question mark one in a second that I think is a little bit better, and I'll show you why. Now let's go into the poor man cover call really quick. Basically what this means is it's called a poor man cover call. Also, like I like to talk crap on this. If it was a good strategy, we would call it a RMCC, a rich man cover call. But for whatever reason, it's called a poor man cover call because people that do it are maybe poor and don't make a lot of money with it. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying like it's for poor people because what they're doing is they're trying to sell cover calls to generate cash flow, but they don't want to have to buy 100 shares to be able to do it. So what most people do with the poor man cover call is they buy a leap call option, like a 1 or 2 year call option on something, and then they use that call option position as if they own 100 shares, and then they sell cover calls against that. So here's the problem with that. Buying a leap call option, we all agree, is a bullish strategy, right? I buy a call option, I want the share price to go up and go to the moon and go to infinity. We all agree on that. But when you're selling a cover call, you don't want that to happen. You want the share price to just go sideways or really just go down and do nothing. So you're bullish and bearish at the same time with the poor man cover call. And what a lot of people will tell me is, well, hey, Brandon, I'm buying a 1 or 2 year call option, but I'm selling 2 week call options against that. So it's different time frames right there. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you're long-term bullish, you think the stock price is going to go up, but short-term bearish? And they're like, yeah, exactly, that's how I feel. And I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like that too. But you're timing the market and it's very hard to do. But I need you to think about this. If you are short-term bearish, long-term bullish, instead of buying a leap call option and paying a lot of money for that call option when you were bearish, why not just let your thesis play out? And let's say that you're correct. Let's say that right here you're thinking about doing a poor man cover call. Why would you want to buy a leap call option when you're bearish? Why not just let the market fall and then buy a leap call option and then make a crap ton of money on the rebound and not deal with the cover call cash flow against it? Like so many people feel like this cash flow is like making them a lot of money. you're usually leaving a lot of money on the table at the end of the day. And I urge you to go take a look at your ROI in the last 5 or 10 years and see how you did versus the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Strongly willing to bet that most people did not even beat the index. Now, I have this pretty cool calculator that I made the other day, and it's basically comparing my strategy that I do, which we're going to go into in a second, versus what people do with the wheel strategy, for example, or just other option strategies. So we're going to say that you have a starting balance of $1 million in your account. We're going to say that you withdraw $7,000 per month for 20 years, and we're basically going to compare Portfolio A versus Portfolio B. Portfolio A is going to be the wheel strategy, the cover call, the poor man cover call, whatever. We're going to assume that you're going to get 8% per year. Honestly, I think that's very, very nice and very optimistic to give you that, but we'll roll with it here. And then my strategy, I've actually been compounding at 25% for the last 8 years, but I'm going to go with 20% to be a little bit more conservative. So I've done it through bull markets, through bear markets, through COVID, through 2022, through Liberation Days, through various volatility events, and it works just fine. So 20% is, we'll talk about that strategy in just a second. You can see the Portfolio A is on the left, Portfolio B is on the right. The key thing here is to look at the ending value. What is the trend rate here? Notice how you're going to have millions and then billions of dollars right here. Meanwhile, the wheel portfolio, you're going to run out of money by withdrawing $84,000 per year, which is 7 times 12 is right here. And I'm still withdrawing the money from this account too. So that's what you got to understand. You're investing for cash flow and feeling like you're doing something, but you're leaving a lot of money on the table because you're not getting the growth, the appreciation of your account. And it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. When you are super bullish down here, you don't want to sell covered calls. You want to just let those shares rebound and go higher. Like on the wheel, you want to get rid of those shares. You're in a big rush to get rid of them. No, you want to let those shares rebound and go higher. So, very quick on my strategy. I don't do covered calls most of the time. I don't do cash secure puts ever. I almost never do the wheel, and I never do the poor man covered call. What I do is called the portfolio secured put. Very simply, I like to sell put options 2 years out down here when a stock is undervalued, good earnings per share growth, moat, pricing power, durable, competitive advantage. 2 years out, but I'm doing it portfolio secured, not cash secured. So I build a base portfolio of the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and then individual companies. That is my foundation of my portfolio. I use that as collateral to then go sell long duration put options. I take that cash flow and then go reinvest it in shares and call options of the company that I'm bullish on to sell puts on. Now, I always have my ratios in check so that even if the market falls 50% down, I'm going to be just fine, and I'm actually going to be able to capitalize on those dips. You always have to have your percent ratios in check for how many puts you're selling versus your total account value. Now, if you want me to go deeper into this, you have to go watch this video right here. It's going to help you out a lot. If not, click the link below for the 10-day stocks and options transformation. Going to blow your mind and teach you all this stuff step by step, and you'll also get access to me in my Discord community. That being said, I'll see you guys there.